Sweet Kate Middleton no longer exists. The wife of Prince William is confidently creating a future Queen of Great Britain. If there is an example of true determination and endurance in modern history, it is definitely the Duchess of Cambridge. On January 9, Catherine of plain English family Middleton celebrates her 10th birthday as the wife of the future King of Great Britain. And, I must say, over the years she perfectly managed to convince everyone that she herself was born to live in the palace. And all this despite the public ridicule and skepticism of journalists and the English aristocracy, just the words of Princess Michael of Kent, who publicly advised Prince William to run away from Kate before it is too late. But apparently, the Windsor aristocracy is contagious. Those who expected that Prince William's girlfriend would become the proverbial breath of fresh air for the British monarchy can now watch with sadness and regret as the Duchess of Cambridge smoothly tries on the image of the second Elizabeth. To be fair, Kate and William did not always go along with strict protocol. And yet all these liberties, from the wearing of jeans to emotionality in public in one way or another, came down to the private lives of the Duke and Duchess, more and more carefully and jealously concealed. In the core issues of the British monarchy, however, Kate and William remain remarkably conservative. And over the years, this conservatism, and even snobbery in some places, has only grown stronger. That's the most obvious thing. Yes, skinny jeans and miniskirts remain in Catherine's closet, as do things from democratic brands. But here's the interesting thing. The contents of the Duchess's closet is rapidly becoming more expensive. So, in 2016, the wife of William spent on new outfits £100,000. In 2017, this amount increased to £119,000. In 2018, Kate spent most of the year on maternity leave, but also for these total 6 months that she showed in public, about £75,000 were spent on outfits. The representation of brands has also changed. Along with the bright representatives of domestic fashion, Kate began to actively wear luxury foreign brands such as Dolce & Gabbana and Chanel. Herein lies the biggest disappointment for those who expected to see Kate as a new style icon as Princess Diana once was. Despite the almost limitless financial resources, the closet of the Duchess of Cambridge remains too boring and protocol, which could never be said about Lady Di. For almost 10 years we have counted only a few occasions when Catherine did not deny herself the opportunity to shine in unexpected dresses. One of the most obvious explanations is that Catherine is too grateful to the Queen and deeply respects the rules of the game that she herself signed up to many years ago. So, unlike her infamous mother-in-law, the Duchess does not even think of overshadowing her husband in fashionable outfits and glossy photo shoots. Her outfits are a purely royal tribute to her impeccable and understated style. Modern fashion is reluctant to respond to this approach, but after all, it's high time we all learned that Catherine is not Diana and that she wants to be a queen, not a star. Perhaps Catherine's only passion remains jewelry, exclusive, high quality and, of course, incredibly expensive. It's the kind of jewelry that in future will be handed down from generation to generation, with the obligatory prefix, from the collection of Queen Catherine. Everything here is remarkable from their number to the style of their upbringing. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge know that they are raising the next generation of British monarchs, and that's why they do everything to make sure that their children are a trump card in the hands of the crown from a young age. Little George, Charlotte and Louis have long been a means of manipulating public opinion. They are loved and adored not only in the United Kingdom, but all over the world. Not coincidentally, the two older children have accompanied their parents on strategic royal tours more than once. It is impossible not to remember how at the most opportune moment for the monarchy, when passions ran high around Prince Charles on the 20th anniversary of Diana's death, Kate and William announced that they were expecting a third heir, instantly switching all the British media to themselves. Thus, the Dukes became the first Windsor couple in decades to go beyond the two obligatory offspring, an heir and a spare. Moreover, there is every reason to believe that the younger Cambridges will one day be four, because that is how many children Elizabeth and Philip had, the couple that Kate and William so zealously try to look up to. Otherwise, her choice of clothing is predictable and has nothing to do with fashion or trends, or even with her age, still young enough to be so conservative. The same goes for accessories and shoes. But all of the above is only a possible scenario for the future. What about now? It is no exaggeration to say that George, Charlotte and Louis are the most popular children in Britain. Their influence on public minds is not doubted even by skeptics. Once their favorite toy happens to be in the frame, it will be identified in just a few minutes and just as quickly sold out. The same goes for the kids' clothes. It's no coincidence, after all, that Catherine decided to intentionally dress her children in the same thing. Shorts and a shirt for Princes George and Louis, and a dress with a bow in the hair for Princess Charlotte, all according to the standard scheme, with an obligatory reference to the children's fashion of the first half of the 20th century. The future wife of the heir to the British crown showed her willfulness even in her school years, having got into a boarding school for girls. Diana always had the image of a rebel at court. Although, when the Prince of Wales first started asking the girl out on dates, she was considered the ideal candidate for the role of wife of the future king. She came from an aristocratic family, was chaste, beautiful and very much liked by the public. Diana began to rebel later, but the reasons for her readiness to rebel against convention can be found in her childhood. The Princess of Wales regularly broke a key rule of the British royal family, repeated by all its members as a mantra and sounding like never complain, never explain, thus greatly irritating the senior representatives of the BCS. In 1995 she was interviewed on the Belgian news TV show Panorama, speaking frankly about her relationship with her husband and court life. The nation, seeing Diana's sincerity, fell even more in love with her, while the august relatives, on the contrary, grew distant. In Charles, the man who would be king, Howard Hodgson explains why the Prince and Princess of Wales were so different and why they could never quite put up. Despite the fact that they were both sent to boarding schools away from home, which they both hated, the future spouses reacted to difficulties in very different ways. Unlike the Prince of Wales, Diana quickly showered her parents with letters telling them how unhappy she was and begging them to take her away without delay, Hodgson writes. The fact that they agreed to take Diana after only one term contrasts with Charles's years of suffering at Gordstone and perhaps explains why, in her later role, she lacked the discipline her husband and his family expected of her. Charles, in his own words, served a prison sentence at a closed institution in Scotland for 5 years. Diana, on the other hand, spent the indicated 6 months away from home. When she twice failed her English exams, her parents sent her abroad to a school called Institut Alpin Vitaminet, a boarding school for girls in Switzerland. The training was in French, although at first Lady Spencer spoke it rather poorly. The atmosphere of a girls' boarding house, where it is very easy to embarrass oneself, made Diana a little more timid. As a result, she faced difficulties socially, and her classroom work, which was difficult even in her native language, now looked quite pitiful, Hodgson concluded. Eventually her parents took pity on their daughter, and she went to live with her mother, Frances Shand Kidd, in the prestigious Knightsbridge district of London. Today one of the most popular members of the BCS is Prince William of Cambridge. But not everyone knows that he was named after another prince who was a public favorite in the 1960s. Here's a look back at how William of Gloucester, the Queen's charming and athletic cousin, was, and why the Playboy prince's life was tragically cut short at age 30. The British press is perhaps one of the most conservative in the world. Even the bulwark of British stability, members of the royal family, have to earn its favor. To please British journalists, you need to be truly impeccable. Such, perhaps, was Prince William of Gloucester, who distinguished himself from mothballed monarchs but never crossed the line of secular propriety. The handsome, intelligent and energetic young man, with kind eyes, a charming smile and impeccable manners, liked to be liked at first sight. He loved his family, but he also valued his freedom and fought for it to the very end. It was this that made him a true idol not only of the English press, which affectionately dubbed him the Playboy Prince, but also the acting Queen's son, Prince Charles, who even named his firstborn son after him. Prince William was born on 18 December 1941 to Henry of Gloucester, brother of King George VI and Lady Alice. The royal couple had been trying to have children for many years, so when little William was born, there was no limit to their happiness. Since his childhood, he grew up in an atmosphere of love and affection. His parents understood that their firstborn son was only fourth in line for the British throne and unlikely to become king one day, so they tried to provide the boy with a normal childhood, away from the scrutiny of society. But they had to adjust their plans somewhat due to the sudden death of Uncle William, the Duke of Kent, who died in a plane crash in 1942. During his lifetime he had been Governor-General of Australia, so when he died the royal family had to nominate another man to take his place. King George VI felt he could not find a more worthy candidate than Henry of Gloucester. Preparations for the move to Australia took nearly 3 years. During this time Henry and Alice were again welcomed into the family, with a brother, named Richard, in August 1944. 6 months later, the family moved to Australia as a family. Although the Duke of Gloucester did not enjoy much popularity with the local public, his children became media favorites. William in particular. Journalists learned that he was the first child in the history of the modern monarchy to be born in a regular hospital, and they loved the baby even more. The press declared William a delightful, charming, and happy little boy who was incredibly close to the people from the moment he was born. However, either because of the drastic change in climate or because of an immature child's body, William was sick a lot in Australia. He had an ear infection, then he was sent to the Royal Sydney Hospital to have his adenoids removed, and upon his return home, the boy fell ill with a mild form of whooping cough. All of this happened within a year. However, when William recovered from the disease, he again became a cheerful and bold kid who pleased the public with his impertinent antics. For example, at a tree planting ceremony in the suburb of La Perouse, southeast of Sydney, in 1946, the young prince refused to use a shovel. According to him, it was too heavy. So William rolled up his sleeves and began digging a hole for a small pine tree with his own hands. Everyone present froze in amazement, but the boy didn't give up until he finished the job. In 1947, by order of the king, Henry of Gloucester returned to Britain to perform official duties at home. In the meantime, the royal family was preparing for an important event, the wedding of the monarch's daughter, which was to be attended by all the Windsors. The young Prince William was honored to be one of the royal boys at this historic wedding. The other royal baby boy accompanying the bride was Michael of Kent. On Monday, Jan. 9, the British royal family celebrated a significant occasion, Princess Catherine's birthday. The Princess of Wales celebrated her 41st birthday, and King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla shared a touching message on social media for their daughter-in-law to mark the occasion. This holiday is special in 2023. The fact is that Catherine's new title entitles her to honors available only to a select few. It's about ringing the bells at Westminster Abbey. It takes place on the birthday of 4 people in the country: King Charles III, Queen Consort Camilla, Prince William, and Princess Catherine. Yesterday the subjects were once again able to enjoy the melodious chime of the bells. Incidentally, it was at the Abbey that Catherine and William tied the bonds of marriage. Princess Catherine and her husband, Prince William, are expected to return to royal duties this week, but the couple probably spent some time with family with their 3 children on Princess's special day. Although Catherine has been seen in public on her birthday in previous years, the future Queen of Great Britain usually spends her birthday alone with her family. For example, she was treated to a tea party at home during isolation on her 39th birthday in 2021. And last year, Kensington Palace shared 3 stunning portraits to celebrate the Princess of Wales' 40th birthday. Why didn't Prince Harry want his father to marry Camilla? And why did Sussex call his stepmother dangerous in his latest interview? In his new scandalous interview, the British King's youngest son called Queen Consort Camilla dangerous. So what did the Duke of Sussex mean by allowing himself to be attacked by a number of relatives in the run-up to the release of his memoirs? Prince Harry told Anderson Cooper that Camilla sacrificed him to improve her reputation in the eyes of the press and the general public, insisting it was a deliberate move ahead of the future monarch's wedding. Speaking with Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes, the Duke of Sussex said that Camilla's need to rehabilitate her image makes her dangerous because of the way she shapes her relationship with the press. Recall that Charles's second wife has long been considered a favorite of reporters among all other royal ladies and enjoys their continued favor. Prince Harry told Anderson Cooper, "There has been an open willingness on both sides to share information. Both with the family built on the hierarchy and with her on her way to becoming queen consort, and because of that there had to be people or bodies left behind." The king's son then admitted to feeling like one of the bodies, believing that both Camilla and his father used him from time to time to improve their own image. "If you as a family member are led to believe that being on the front page, praise headlines, positive stories written about you will improve your reputation or increase the chances that the British public will accept you as a monarch, then that is what you are going to do," the prince explained his thought. Harry also mentioned that he did not think it necessary for his father to marry Camilla and revealed that he and his brother Prince William asked their father not to tie themselves together a second time. The prince felt that it would do more harm than good, and just being in a relationship with Mrs. Parker Bowles was enough. Sussex admitted that he wanted to see the current spouses happy, but he thought a public account of their relationship would suffice. Harry's interview with Anderson Cooper aired hours after the first British broadcast of the Duke of Sussex's interview with ITV News host Tom Bradby on ITV. It took place Sunday night. In the broadcast, His Majesty's youngest son mentioned his father and brother, Princess Diana, and daughter-in-law Kate, dissecting their relationship with Meghan.